Hi, my name's Emily. I work for Africa Tech Festival, and today I'm delighted to say we are joined by Twitter's Emmanuel Lubanzadio. Emmanuel, welcome. Thank you for joining. How are you finding the event so far?
Thank you so much, Emily. Really appreciate you having this conversation with me. I actually do enjoy the event quite a lot. Been following those insightful conversations from happening, but also my own panel participation with great fellow speakers. So definitely looking forward to even more of those sorts of events in the future from happening.
Great, thank you. Well, just to start then, could you tell us a little bit about your role at Twitter?
Yes, absolutely. So, joined the company about 10 months ago and been leading our public policy engagement in Sub-Saharan Africa. I would say that, the majority of my work, which I do get to enjoy quite a lot, is really, seeking conversation with different partners, civil society organizations in particular, but, just really representing Twitter's mission abroad, since Sub-Saharan Africa is my region. So in particular, within Sub-Saharan Africa, so representing Twitter, really just having a good time engaging those conversations with different partners on the ground. It's quite insightful. It's quite a lot of fun, and I do enjoy it quite a lot.
Yes, I was going to say, so Twitter, obviously you have on kind of a user level, so someone like myself using the platform, and like Africa Day, we see specific emojis that are obviously a collaboration between yourselves and Africa Union. But I guess underneath that, a big part of your role is collaborating with NGOs and organizations like that, and I guess having maybe looking more at the kind of the more meaningful, the responsibility side of Twitter as, huge platform, especially nowadays when everyone's online. So could you just share a little bit of information about how you collaborate with NGOs and I guess why you think that's so important for Twitter to do?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, since we are, all of us are kind of going through the pandemic all together, I can even just bring it to the topic of COVID, which, provides the best example. So as you mentioned yourself, so ever since COVID happened, more people than ever have come into Twitter, to learn about COVID-19, to connect with friends and family, and have to really find reliable information. And we as Twitter have responded quickly to these challenges and have continued to update our policies and enforcement. We are sharing more data, to ensure that experts and the public can better analyze how the discussion around COVID-19 has been evolving. We've done so by building partnerships, raising relief funds, and granting pro bono advertising grants so that our partners, both governments and non-governmental organizations, can actually share reliable information related to the pandemic. And as I've said, Twitter does not do anything on its own, but more so always in concert and in partnership with other organizations. And I can just briefly, mention some of those. So, for instance, we have facilitate dividend conversations and around sharing credible information through different prompts, such as the Know the Facts prompt, which we've shared in over 80 countries. And we have done these partnerships or activations with organizations like the WHO. And I think particularly looking into the African continent, I've been having a great relationship led by myself with AMREF Health, which is a healthcare NGO. And together we've hosted a webinar on the topic of COVID-19 misinformation and guideline adherence. And we actually following up with this webinar that we've hosted, which also included the Africa CDC director, so that we would like to move away from this talk show, but we're really turning to, talking to action. And we actually now partnering with the AMREF Health University Healthcare Reporters Program, where we as Twitter will come in and provide a Twitter session on how to utilize Twitter during a crisis response, and just that sort of partnership. But again, to sum up my point, those are the partnerships that really make our platform which it is, and all in all, with the overall goal to supporting people find reliable information on our platform.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think Twitter does it really, really well, kind of working across like healthcare and stuff like this. So also, I guess earlier on this year in South Africa, there was the kind of notification for mental health and around suicide, and especially around COVID-19, things like that, I think are so important when people are really kind of talking to their online community about how they're feeling, they're maybe not talking to people about. Could you share a little bit of information on that? Because that was just earlier this year, wasn't it?
Yes, no, absolutely. So we've looked into COVID-19, not only in terms of misinformation, which we have obviously addressing with our policies. We have updated our definition of harm, and then taken action accordingly. But we did not only look into the issue of COVID-19 through that lens, but we've also looked into different kind of issues that people might experience during the pandemic. Now that everything has gone online and virtual and digital, we figured that there may be some increase of mental health issues that may be arising due to people dealing with the pandemic. We've therefore reached out to our partners, different partners that we have within our Trust and Safety Council, to kind of collaborate on this issue to address this. So in my context, since I lead our engagement in Sub-Saharan Africa, we have partnered with AMREF Health on this. We've also partnered with a Nigerian organization by the name of Mentally Aware Nigeria Initiative. And in South Africa, it was the South African Depression Anxiety Group. So, again, and all, everything is focused on really building these partnerships and really learning from these partners on the ground about certain realities. So, there's a lot of value that I myself and also Twitter are really taking with having these great partners on board.
Yeah, definitely. I think the kind of partnership seems to be the kind of the word that keeps coming up here. I think that's really interesting. I think so, like, as a user of the platform, you perhaps don't realize the number of partnerships that are going on behind the scenes to make kind of Twitter what it is for the experience. But I guess part of partnerships is kind of collaborating and moderation and things like this. So obviously around mental health, it's easier to kind of moderate what looks like it might be a, like a trigger or a warning. But with misinformation and, what we're calling false news, and even in some cases, how is that moderated? And kind of, I guess it's kind of an ethical challenge around there, who chooses what's truth and what's not. But it'd just be interesting to kind of understand how that's moderated, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I've mentioned, ever since COVID happened, we've broadened our definition of harm, to really address content that goes against the guidance from credible sources. So with those sources, I mean public health information and organization, both regional and obviously global ones like the WHO. And we have done so in concert effort and in regular communication with them. And then so we go after based our action that we take based upon their scientific advice. And so what we have done on a policy base, we have done removals and labeling. And information that we remove includes, any denial of global or local health authority recommendations, description of alleged cures which haven't been confirmed by these aforementioned healthcare authorities. Any denial of scientific facts, it's also removed. And any encouragement of behavior that may lead to harm, it's also removed. So again, as I said, everything is done in partnership with the WHO and other regional health authorities, which also provides us a look into their experience, but also make sure that we're not the arbiter of truth, which is a position that we never would like to occupy. Instead, we do everything in really concerted effort with different partners. And for this, we even have a Trust and Safety Council, which really comprises different organizations, both civil society organizations, nonprofits, who provide us with advice on how to go about our policies and our product. So it's always about a constant improvement and a constant communication with our partners.
That's really interesting. I guess I have a question around kind of, this year's obviously been a really exciting year in ways for your team. Like, it's so different. Nobody expected it. You kind of joined that specific role about 10 months ago, did you say?
Yes.
Yes. So what an interesting year it's been. What are some of the biggest achievements or things that you're most proud of your kind of team doing this year? I think that'd be interesting.
Yes. No, absolutely. I think I will again have to go back to COVID. I think just look at how our teams have been coming together to really adapt our policies and really provide people with reliable information. Because one of our key models and mantras and one thing we definitely stand for is encouraging the health of the public conversation. So once COVID happened, I would say our company reacted quite fast with both enabling employees like myself to work from home, but then from the product and policy side, really introducing different products, adapting our policies, all in all with the overall goal of providing people with reliable information so that Twitter can be actually a source of credible information. And I think that's something I'm definitely proud of, because we all can agree that COVID has taken us all by storm. But the way Twitter has reacted in terms of misinformation, but also just in general, adapting our policies, products, and even our philanthropic work, the amount of advertising grants that we've given to different organizations so that they can utilize our platform to advertise, credible information. This is something I'm definitely proud of. And looking back into this year and the way Twitter has been handling this pandemic, that definitely makes me proud to be working for Twitter, particularly during such a critical time in our history.
Yeah, definitely. That's really nice to hear. I'm sure your teams probably agree with you on that. Like, it's probably been exciting, but loads of learnings and a year of change in adapting for everyone, which I think kind of brings us quite nicely onto, Africa Tech Festival going virtual and what that means and why that's important for Africa. So it'd just be interesting to get your insight on why you were part of the Africa Tech Festival, why it was important to you, and maybe the hope for the next year as we kind of hopefully move out of COVID-19, and how the tech community can work together.
No, I think as regards Africa Tech Festival, Emily, so many great things, not only in terms of tech, have been happening on the continent. So I do enjoy the fact the fact that Africa Tech Festival actually provided different kind of people, not only big tech or bigger tech companies, but even entrepreneurs, a platform to do share some of their accomplishments, because looking into Africa as a market which in the future will produce a lot of technologies that will be needed in the entire world. I think the fact that Africa Tech Festival actually highlighted those and put those on the spotlight is something I did appreciate about Africa Tech Festival. And also, as regards Twitter, myself also provide us a platform to really speak directly to the African audience, to provide them with some of our policy updates, so that people are aware of the kind of work that we are doing. So all in all, the fact that Africa Tech Festival has been highlighting some of these African accomplishments, which definitely need to be highlighted more often. And as regards next year, I think, obviously due to the pandemic, we're not able to travel, but hopefully, next year, Africa Tech Festival can be happening really, and we can have in-person meetings. And just really looking forward to having more engagement with Africa Tech Festival in the future, to really highlight not only our work, but also learning about some of the amazing work that different entrepreneurs have been doing on the continent.
Yeah, definitely. Fingers crossed this time next year we're all in Cape Town.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully we get there. So I guess just another question, which would be really nice to know, because I find it like an interesting role, public policy and social media, as Twitter specifically. I guess a question I'd have for young people would be, how would you encourage people to get into this kind of role? Obviously, your background is in public policy, but perhaps maybe a young person's kind of would like to kind of get into that field. What would you say were kind of the big ways to get in?
Even just looking into, or thinking about my different colleagues doing public policy work for Twitter across the globe, it seems everybody has a different background. Like, just looking into myself, I studied international relations in the US. I'm German, so I would say even the fact that that encouraged me to pursue my studies abroad in the US, to leave my home country, is just the fact that I was really curious. And I think, disregarding of what field that you were pursuing as a young person, I think it's just about curiosity, trying out different things. So I did different internships. During my time in the US, I was fortunate to able to do an internship in the US Congress. So it was quite special as a German citizen. And looking into my past, 10 years, both professionally and academically, I was always driven by curiosity. So I think it's just always a matter of being curious, with the world being connected, just reaching out to different people who may provide you with some advice. I think this is one of the biggest things that I can say. So as regards public policy or any other field in the context of politics, it's just a matter of yourself being curious and going out there, because opportunities out there are limitless, and it doesn't only apply to Twitter, but more so just in opportunities in general. I think just be curious, be pursuant, ask questions, which I did. Now, I'm sure I did bother a lot of people, but at the same time, though, it's just it's just the century that we live in that's so connected and open. I think it's really based upon curiosity, going out there and trying out different things.
Is there anything you're currently working on that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yes, absolutely. So, as I've mentioned earlier, AmRef Health has been quite a good partner because we've been learning about different realities on the ground through AmRef Health, particularly as regards healthcare-related issues and how we as a platform can come in and really support their engagement. So, as I've mentioned, AmRef International University offers a course in healthcare reporting. And we just agreed again to support the course through capacity building activities, because we do believe that capacity building is really one of those activities, particularly being in a digital age and time, how to utilize Twitter to really share reliable information. So what we will be doing, we'll be offering different Twitter sessions. Myself and other team members would be then talking about Twitter 101 and how to utilize Twitter during a crisis response, because fingers crossed that this pandemic is over, but I'm sure that it's definitely not the only healthcare issues that we'll be having in the future. So any capacity building activities that we can show Twitter's utility, this is something we are pushing, and with AmRef Health, this is a great partnership we are entering on this context. And hopefully in the future we'll be able to enter even much more partnerships on the continent, on the ground.
Great. Thank you so much for joining me today, Emmanuel. I absolutely love talking to you. It's been really interesting with me. Thank you for speaking at the Africa Tech Festival. Obviously, people watch your panel on demand. Really interesting. Definitely watch it if you haven't yet. And just enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ellie. Really appreciate your time. Take care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye-bye.